This meeting of the City of Socorro City Council is set to begin. Due to ongoing threat to public health, the City of Socorro, Texas Council and Commissions will be conducting a virtual meeting broadcasted by phone and live streaming services from council chambers located at 816 North Rio Vista Road, Socorro, Texas 79927, to practice social distancing and limit the number of people physically present at one time. There will be no physical access to the location mentioned above. We do ask everyone to silence their electronics to avoid any sound interruptions. No disruptive behavior or outbursts will be tolerated. Violators are subject to call disconnection and possible prosecution. Anyone who has signed up to speak or present will be called upon by the presiding officer to speak during public comment or on their specific agenda item in accordance with Government Code 551.042. La reunión de concilio de la Ciudad de Socorro está por empezar. Por el problema de salud pública en curso, el Concilio y las comisiones de la Ciudad de Socorro, Texas, transmitirá su reunión por teléfono y servicios de transmisión en vivo desde la sala de concilio localizada en 860 Norte Rio Vista Road, Socorro, Texas 79927, para practicar el distanciamiento social y limitar el número de personas físicamente presentes. No habrá acceso físico a la ubicación mencionada anteriormente. Le pedimos a todos que silencien su equipo electrónico para evitar interrupciones de sonido. No se va a tolerar ningún tipo de comportamiento perjudicial o revoltoso. Quien no siga estas reglas, su llamada será desconectada y puede ser infraccionado. A quien se haya apuntado para hablar o presentar será anunciado por el oficial condiciendo la reunión para hablar durante los comentarios públicos o sobre su tema específico de agenda de acuerdo con el Código de Gobierno 551.042.
It is now 6:09 p.m. This meeting is called to order. Ms. Rodarte, would you please lead us in a pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 3, establishment of quorum.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
I could hardly hear you guys. Here.
Ralph Duran,
Here.
Mayor Ivy Avalos,
Here.
Victor Perez,
Here.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 4, public comments.
Mayor, we have no speakers for public comment.
Number 5, presentation. Update on 87th legislation session, update by Rick Armendariz and Marissa Marquez from Forma Group.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We do have Marisa Marquez and Rick Armendariz on the line. They will be giving us a presentation on the 87th state legislation session.
Hi, good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Well, thank you for having us here. We wanted to give you an update on some legislation, some bills that have been moving that we thought would be of interest. Just to give you all some background, we've been tracking, supporting and opposing numerous amounts of bills. I think we're tracking close to 150, 160 bills that are related to the city of Socorro. I know through TML there's some overlap on some of these issues or legislation, but what we wanted to do here is break out some bills that we think are of importance specifically to the city of Socorro and kind of have this discussion. And, you know, we don't want to take up too much of your time, but if you have any questions, either myself or Marisa, who is also on this call, will be glad to answer them, either during this presentation or after. We'd be glad to give you more information on specific bills because we do know it is quite a bit of information. We've been up to Austin probably 5-6 times during the session. Some of the bills that we supported on behalf of the city were done by dropping what they call dropping a card, which is registering in favor. The same with opposing. Some of the bills we supported were done simply by communicating with the legislators, the members, the committees, letting them know the city of Socorro's position. So if we can go to slide 2. What do we want to do here? We want to give you an update on your legislative initiatives as you all laid out in your legislative priority agendas. We want to give you an update on other items of interest, answer any of your questions, and receive any additional guidance. Next slide, please. And again, what do we want to, this update to accomplish is help you reach your strategic goals, further your legislative priorities, and most importantly, protect your interests during the 87th legislative session and beyond. Before we go into the actual bills, Marisa, I don't know if you want to say anything, but we wanted to talk about a little bit about the way this session is going because of COVID. It's been a really strange session. There's been a lot of limitations up until I'd say maybe the last month with regards to masks, with regards to social distancing. In order to gain access to the Capitol, you either have to take a test every morning or show them your vaccine record. So they're still quite stringent. I would say half of the offices are meeting people, the other half are not. So it's kind of a hit or miss in trying to communicate with some of these individuals. There were close to 9,000 bills filed this session. Compared to last session, there were close to 10,500. So we're kind of equal to the number of bills. However, the number of bills that have passed to date are about 1,500. Last session, close to 5,000 bills passed. So even though the number of bills that have been filed are more or less equal, the number of bills that are looking to pass have not been the same. Marisa, do you want to add anything before we go to the bills?
No, I think that's a fair depiction of what's going on. Are there any questions?
No.
Rick?
No questions? Okay, and we know these are broad topics, and like I say, stop us at any time. If you can go to the next slide, please. So we broke this report down into your different priority groups, the first being water and waste water. And so the first bill we want to talk about, HJR2, that goes in relation to an additional bill that's basically as a result of this, the freeze we had with electric issues. The state legislature decided to create what they're calling a reliability fund that's gonna allow municipalities to receive funding either through loans or grants to beef up their network, beef up their water, beef up their electric, beef up their natural gas, broadband, etc. So this is, while maybe something you cannot tap into right now, this is something that as the city moves and grows, that you might look into for a funding source. And so HJR2 still has to, it looks like it's gonna pass, it still has to receive a vote of, through the state of Texas. It's gonna be a constitutional amendment that's gonna be put to the voters. And that'll likely be at some point in November. HB 2350, that is a financial assistance provided to cities, counties, municipalities, etc., for water and water restoration projects. Now, the key on this is it's going to provide state funding for flood mitigation. There's a couple of $1 million here that cities can access, political subdivisions can access, but it has to be what they call for nature-based flood mitigation. And so when we looked into this a little bit further, what does that mean? It means that there's an arroyo or something that's natural that mitigates these floods. You have to look at preserving the way the water flows. So this is something that might be useful to the city moving forward. And all of these bills, if there's anyone that is of real interest or that we think would be helpful, we're gonna pull out more information. If there's grant packets, if there's anything like that, we'll be giving that to you. HB 2000, that is allowing the issuance of bonds, creating the fund for that HJR2. So HB 2000 and HJR2 go hand in hand, and like I said, both of them look like they are well on their way to move. So what this is for the city is more than anything, they're grants and funds that they can tap into. Some are loans, some are not. So moving forward, these might become very important for some of your water flood issues, or if you all ever go down the road of any sort of water, wastewater, natural gas utilities, this money will be there.
Very quickly, this is in response to the storm from February. So the state is basically allowing a little bit more of local control to municipalities and local political subdivisions to have a little bit more responsiveness to their communities with regard to these types of issues. So that's a positive for the city of Socorro. You guys will be able to have a little bit more say. You'll have, if you guys decide in the future that you do want to have these types of water, electric, or natural gas utilities, the state is basically saying you guys should have some say in this to avoid the type of catastrophe that happened in February.
Yes. Next slide, please. So, of especial importance to the city of Socorro is expansion of municipal powers, legislation that is seeking to expand or limit or, put more kind of restrictions on the abilities of cities to operate. First is SB 593. And SB 593 was a bill that was filed by Senator Hinojosa. And this was allowing municipal authority to annex colonias without voter approval. Now, this is a bill we're looking at for various reasons to try to see if we would be able to look at possibly amending it to, be able to look at some options for the city of Socorro. But unfortunately, this bill did not move. This bill was left pending in committee. Senator Hinojosa was unable to garner the necessary support to move this forward. We were looking at this closely, trying to offer our support as well, but unfortunately it did not get any traction and it stayed stuck in the referral process. So it really didn't even get out of the gate. That was unfortunate, but that was one of the bills that we were looking at. SB 1168. This one is moving and will very likely pass. This is a bill by Senator Campbell, and basically what it's going to do is prohibit cities from imposing fees, fines, any sort of dollar amounts into ETJ areas that either rejected annexation or were previously were tried to annex and where the city or the municipality was not successful. So we know as the city of Socorro is growing, there might be times where there needs to be some sort of annexation of an ETJ or what have you. So this bill, if a municipality is not successful in those efforts, are not going to be able to impose any fees on that area. Something to look out for. SB 2188. This is a relevant bill and it's timely. What this does is it allows cities to basically provide oversight to any of these migrant children centers. So if the city of Socorro were to get a migrant center for children, child facilities that have contracted with the federal government, the city can pass ordinances and adopt ordinances that have oversight over them, over these facilities. And that could be anything from sanitation to occupancy to whatever it is. This would allow the city to do that. So this is expanding your powers and allowing you to, I guess, better provide specifically in your area for these facilities. Marisa, were you gonna say? No?
No, this is in response to the migration here. So you all will now, just like you guys, I've heard in your past meetings that you guys have regulated, nursing homes that are, or homes that have turned into nursing home facilities or have taken care of individuals. This is kind of allowing you guys, if there is a facility that's put up in the city of Socorro, you guys will be allowed to issue permits. Even if it's the feds.
Yeah. HB 545. So what HB 54 does is really simple. It allows cities to annex a road right of way by ordinance, as long as it meets certain conditions. So really what this was intended for is if there is a boundary road or a boundary line that's a street that makes sense for the city to take over in order to provide paving, other types of services, they are able to do it with specific circumstances. So this is one of these bills that we probably need to get with your one of your departments, your planning department, streets, et cetera, to see how this would apply if you all have any of these types of situations. HB 4447. This bill is likely not going to move, and this is one that was one of these opposed bills. What this would have done is required a whole new planning document for cities to create when any sort of applicant is trying to get platting for a subdivision, planning for property, et cetera. This would have created kind of that other layer, but it also would have it would have allowed 5 or more applicants to get together and petition a city to create what they called a bifurcated system. And that system was going to allow kind of a separate route of planning without going through the normal city process. So this is something that's not moving. There was a lot of discussion around this, but in the end, I think the cities were able to win out and not necessarily, not have this move forward. HB 5, huge bill, statewide implications. In summary, what this bill does is it's going to offer grants and loans to areas that are underrepresented as far as broadband, wireless, for all the 5G stuff that's coming. And it is going to have a funding source. So cities that meet a certain criteria are going to be able to tap into this. There was some opposition by some of the private carriers, the larger companies, telecom, et cetera, that were kind of against this because they felt that they were going to be left out of the equation, that they were the best people to plan for this growth. But in the end, this is moving. This is in what's called the conference committee. The Senate and the House are both discussing the differences, and they're going to reach an agreement. So this is moving. This is going to be something good. It's going to allow for new monies to go in to establish broadband. Next slide, please. So regard to solid waste. So we were looking at some solid waste issues. We were looking at, potential, again, growth for the city, what type of bills would limit, what type of bills would help it grow. HB 753 would limit the amounts that cities can charge a private provider for waste management. And it would not restrict businesses from contracting with entities for trash hauling. So this would have limited the city. This also did not move. This had a lot of opposition and was left pending in committee. HB 631, this was dealing with solid waste facilities, and it was going to basically not require solid waste facilities or whatever you want to call them, to obtain permits from political subdivisions before opening. They would be able to get it through TCEQ, and it would prohibit the political subdivisions from creating an ordinance that would prevent that. So right now, this bill, we'd say it's medium. It's gone through the process. The committee report is about to be sent over to the House floor, but they're going to run out of time. We'll talk about some deadlines towards the end of the presentation, but we don't think it's going to move forward, but this is something that also has a lot of opposition. The last item that we talk about here is historic preservation. HB 3706. This is kind of a weird one. This is relating to state historic sites. And basically what this bill does, it adds the old Socorro Mission State Historic Site to the Texas Historic Commission. Previously, it was under Texas Parks and Wildlife Division. They, I guess, looked at some of the more important sites in the state and moved them over from Parks and Wildlife to the State Historic Commission. And the Socorro Mission State was Historic Site was one of them. SB 1585. This also had to do with how you determine a certain property is a historic landmark. I guess currently there's a couple of different commissions or boards that a city can create to designate an area a historic landmark. What this bill says is that this would basically not allow that. It would only require one commission to make that decision and not what they call shop around. So this bill is going to pass. It's been reported favorably. It looks like this will become law. So if the city of Socorro has multiple commissions that are able to designate something a historic landmark, this would have an impact on it. Next slide, please. Marisa, do you want to do the Article 12?
Yes, so I'm sure you guys have heard much about the federal funds that are coming down, and there's been much debate about how the state is going to allocate those funds. So there is in Article 12, there was some anticipation that they could allocate the federal funds in this session. Obviously, that we're running out of time because the end of this month is probably the end of the session. There was an amendment to SB 1, which is the budget, that would require that there be a special session called instead of leaving it to basically the Speaker of the House, the Lieutenant Governor, and the Governor to allocate those funds once they became available. So what's happening now is that the federal funds are being released from, the feds coming to the state, and the state's saying, well, leave it to the three of us, we'll allocate them where we see fit. And what the legislature is saying, no, go ahead and call us all back in, and then we'll allocate them as an entire 181 delegation.
Yeah, what this means is that even though the session's over, it's not over, there's gonna be money on the table. The
Correct.
legislators don't want three people to make the decision, so this is a to be continued, and there's gonna be over $1 billion plus on the table that everybody's gonna be reaching for. So we need to make sure the city of Socorro is in a position, if there's anything related to grants or funds, et cetera, that they need to be at least at the table.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. Okay, so these are bills that are kind of more, that we feel might be of a little bit more significance or importance specifically to the city of Socorro, certain areas, certain departments. So let's just go through them. And like I said, if you all have any questions. HB 1564, this is a bill by Representative Mary Gonzalez. And what this bill does is this bill, and it is moving, it basically tries to address or take care of this issue with all the land around Horizon communities. So if you know a little bit background on this issue, there's a lot of parcels of land out there that were sold that didn't have water, infrastructure, et cetera, that people couldn't sell. People don't know who owns land. People don't know any of that. What this bill does is it says if that land has not been developed for 25 years and it's in an area where 50% of the other land has not been developed, the county commissioners court can basically take it over through a civil action, and it goes through a state court proceeding. They're gonna assign somebody a receivership to be able to take all the land anywhere within El Paso County that fits the criteria and sell it. So what this is trying to do is take care of that issue where you have a subdivision and you have jigsaw pieces that are missing, so a developer doesn't want to go in there and develop the land. This is saying the county can take all that land if it meets the requirements and sell it and get it developed.
Question. And I'm sorry, regarding that specific item, and I'm not sure that this would apply here, but just hypothetically, if those lands are in a municipality, um, would the hierarchy be to the municipality first and then the county? Or the county would have a carte blanche to be able to take over those lands if they met the requirements?
No, this would be lands that are outside of any city limits within El Paso County. Now, the question that we've asked and we've not been able to get answered is, what about ETJs? Because, you know, the ETJs can extend for miles, so what does that mean? So we haven't gotten an answer yet. This is moving out of the House. Senator Blanco has a similar bill, but we think this bill is moving. When it gets over to the Senate, which will be sometime this week, next week, it'll likely be amended further. So before this bill didn't have a process on how to sell the land. They just said whoever the court appoints as a receiver would be able to sell the land at what price, who knows? They determine the price. But they amended the bill to say, no, it's got to be through a sealed bid or an auction or something. The background on this bill, again, is they're trying to get all that land and be able to develop it, which up until now they have not. So, you know, there was some opposition by, you know, some private property types, but this is a unique situation for El Paso. It's a good attempt and it looks like it's moving. So there might be a whole lot of development out there sometime soon.
This is
Thank you.
specifically El Paso County also.
El Paso County only, not the rest of the state. And like I said, any of these bills, we'll be glad to provide more in-depth information or answer any questions offline. That's not an issue. HB 2210, basically what this does is allows the local government to enter into these sort of support agreements with the military. So for example, if the city of Socorro wanted to provide a certain service on Fort Bliss or through their whatever department, they would be able to do it. Previously, they would not be able to have done that. HB 914 is also another interesting bill. May or may not move. It's been kind of stuck in the Senate committee, but it would allow municipal employees to tow away abandoned or illegally parked vehicles. It would not require action by the police department. It would allow those municipal employees to basically tow those vehicles away when they meet those certain conditions. HB 323, I'm sorry, that was HB, HB 914 and HB 323 are kind of both the same. They're attempting different things. They're both trying to take care of the abandoned or illegally parked car issue. HB 282 was another bill the city of Socorro supported. This was also by Rep. Mary Gonzalez. This bill was going to establish an independent citizen redistricting commission. Just so you know, the way we have redistricting going on this session, we had the census finish. We got the numbers for the state. They're going to drill down and give us county numbers and then city numbers and then precinct numbers. So that's all going to determine who your state representative is. Right now, that's being handled by the legislature. What this would have done is it would have created an independent citizen commission to give input. This bill, unfortunately, did not move forward, but there are other kind of similar bills that might do something along the same ways, but there's just a lot of resistance at the state level for that. And SB 1818, we know there's different scrap metal recyclers within the city limits. What this would do is it would provide, if a scrap metal recycler contracted with another third party to get rid of their scrap or hazardous material, and that person went out of business, currently that scrap metal recycler would be liable. They would be held responsible for cleanup and fees. What this bill does, it says, no, they would not be responsible. The person that was doing that contract would be held responsible. So it conforms with federal language. So that's a federal law. The state law wasn't the same, but again, we thought we'd include it for your all's knowledge. Next slide, please. And actually, there were two other bills that didn't make it on here, but kind of late. One of them is HB 1927. You might have heard of it. It's constitutional carry. That bill will pass. Anyone 21 and over who can legally purchase a gun will now be able to have a concealed firearm on their possession without the need of a license or background check. This is going to pass. It's gonna, change a lot of, change the dynamics of a lot of interactions, but this is heading towards the governor's desk. So the state of Texas is gonna be the largest state that permits constitutional carry or permitless carry. The other bill that's moving that has to do with police issues is HB 829. And what that bill does, it creates a progressive disciplinary matrix for police and fire. And it's based on this Bill Blackwood Law Enforcement Association, and it gives best practices. So what this bill wants to do is say, for all these police departments, all these fire departments, we're gonna have this uniform matrix that is gonna be progressive and says if, fire person or law enforcement first responder does X the first time, this is the penalty, the second time, the third time, the fourth time. This is moving. It left the House. It has wheels. It has legs. It's headed to the Senate. This will also very likely become law. So these are the types of bills that we can give you more information on, how this impacts the city of Socorro specifically, because these will be some changes coming. And that's it. That's it for our presentation. Yes, sir.
With regarding to voting rights that's being discussed tonight, actually in the Senate or in the State House, what is all of that going to pass?
Well, I mean, the way it's moving, the short answer is yes. There's been a lot of amendments that, like you said, the discussion is happening now. In our next update, which we'll hope to be in no later than 2 weeks, we can provide that information, but it does look like it is heading. What happens when the Senate and the House have different ideas or different amendments, they go to what's called a conference committee. So that process is gonna very likely happen. And those are just 5 people from each house that make that decision. Those are not done through a public meeting. Those are not necessarily done in secret, but they're done out of the public eye, so to speak. Marisa can speak more to that. She was actually on some of these types of conference committees. But it does look like there is going to be, depending on how you label it, this voter suppression bill that is going to pass in Texas.
Can you, either of you, keep me informed?
Yes,
So
sir,
that-
absolutely.
That are, I can, other members of the council, they can, I can keep them informed too. And let me know where it's at and what we can expect in regard to how it's gonna affect Socorro.
The large issue also is this redistricting issue, because once we get those numbers from the federal governments in September, I mean, there's a lot of, I was doing some research on it today, and so voting precincts are gonna change. The city of El Paso likely is going to go from, well, the county of El Paso is gonna go from 5 reps to maybe 4 1/4. So if you look at the city of the map of El Paso, and the House districts, the Texas House districts grew from 160,000 to 195,000. If you look at the map, you start on the westernmost part. It's got to move from west to east or east to west. So we start New Mexico. The map pushes out. They need more population. That's Representative Speaker Moody's district. It pushes out. He's got to eat into these districts. These districts push out, push out, push out. So nothing's set in stone. There's a lot of different ways to look at this, but it's kind of a math problem. The way we look at it is certain districts are going to need 195,000 people in them, where right now they have 160,000 because of the population growth. So El Paso didn't see the growth we expected. We're probably going to end up, El Paso County may be a little bit under 900,000. So that's going to push that out. That's going to be very important for the city when they're looking at redistricting, who represents them, that type of thing. But we'll keep you informed of the voter suppression and the redistricting, because those two are going to be major issues that impact the city.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Reyes?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask about the Senate Bill 389 about the establishment of the minimum wage. How is that?
389?
389, yes.
Let's see. That bill didn't, it's stuck in a committee. The last action it was taken was March, early March. So that bill is not going anywhere.
All right.
It was referred. It never
Yeah.
even got a hearing.
It's not gonna happen. No way.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
No, thank you. And like I said, we're open to take questions, email, give us a call. We're available.
Okay, moving on, item number 6, presentation on Socorro Safety Soldier.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's a great pride that I'm able to go ahead and share with you the.
Can't hear.
Test. There we go. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Stefan. Hello and good evening, Mayor and Council. It is with great pride that I'm able to share with you the city's latest community education campaign, which is also known as the Safety Soldier. The Safety Soldier was a project that incorporated all the departments here within the city, as well as the department heads, to go ahead and get feedback, to go ahead and construct this educational tool for the public that would incorporate the use of the grant-funded Socorro Youth and Culture Program to go ahead and issue out not only safety messages, but also safe driving tips, and something that can be interchangeable in terms of signage to advocate for either slowing down speed, putting down your cell phone, or as well as advertising any kind of road closures as well. With that being said, I'm gonna ask Ms. Rosie to go ahead and share our vectors that will be placed on our social media campaign. These vectors are done in English and Spanish, as you will see, and they depict a different safety message for each day of the week. We incorporated different photos from all of the activities that our employees do on a daily basis. Here specifically, we look at, looking at paving of our roads to keep out for safety signs, detours, sharing the roadway with others, such as ambulances, giving them the roadway. We also look at Socorro Police Department, in terms of doing detours or road closures, definitely not texting or answering the phone while driving. And then we also looked at standing water or dangerous water, turn around, don't drown messaging is a typical common theme that's used, as well as our school zones, making sure that they slow down in those areas as well. These are all important topics that we kind of agreed on need to be reminded of the public sometimes, and things that could be incorporated in everyday use of their motor vehicle. We also do have an unveiling. Before we show the video, I would like to go ahead and share a little bit from our artists. They did type up something since they weren't able to make it today to the meeting. The Safety Soldier marks the start of the new era for the Socorro and the people that call the city home. By demonstrating that we unite and work together, we can create a positive impact in our community. We started this project to promote safe and responsible driving habits, but the Socorro Youth and Culture Art Program took it to another level. We submitted this sculpture to the Green Hope Project, Trash to Treasure 5 Recycled Art Contest, and we are proud to announce that the Socorro Youth and Culture won top prize. In addition to receiving the Choice Award from the contest, we also partnered with the Fab Lab of Paso to create miniature replicas inspired by the Safety Soldier project. We are looking forward to seeing all of our safety soldiers standing strong and proud, representing the city of Socorro by way of our artists. The artists did create little safety soldiers. We have one for each of council and one for each of the kids that participated in the project, and we'll be giving them a copy of that. With that being said, can I have Rosie please share our unveiling video?
Who is the safety soldier? When presented for approval at a city council meeting, the draft of the safety soldier was an immediate hit, and it quickly stirred an enthusiastic response from the council members. It was approved and immediately set into motion, starting the process that would turn an idea.
Sorry, we
into
can't
a
hear
reality.
anything.
What followed was a collaborative effort by the Socorro Youth and Culture instructors,
I suggest you start it all over again, please.
Okay, so.
Just give us a couple of seconds. We're trying to troubleshoot the volume.
who is the safety soldier? When presented for approval at a city council meeting, the draft of the safety soldier was an immediate hit, and it quickly stirred an enthusiastic response from the council members. It was approved and immediately set into motion, starting the process that would turn an idea into a reality. What followed was a collaborative effort by the Socorro Youth and Culture instructors, students, and city employees working together to make an icon for traffic safety, and a proof of the rich cultural and artistic influence of the community of Socorro. Most of the materials used in the construction of the safety soldier were recycled in order to help bring awareness to the benefits of recycling by example. Standing at approximately 12 feet tall, the safety soldier is a monumental testament of the strength and ingenuity of the city of Socorro. Bright colors and a friendly smile ensure this creation is approachable and exciting. It is a legacy here to stay for years to come as part of Socorro and the people that call this city home, and a reminder to drive safely and responsibly. So don't be shy when you see him around town. Say hi, take a selfie, and become part of the Safety Soldier family. Who is the
Each of those tires that you saw in the Safety Soldier were created by a different member of the Youth and Culture Program. Each tire was designed, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, staff, it is very hard to hear you on this other side.
Can you
I
guys,
can't- Not a word, nothing. Video was not, we didn't hear a darn thing either.
can you hear me, council?
Yes,
When
you
you,
sound-
when you get close to the mic, yes, but you need to, I guess, talk louder or something into the mic. It is really hard to hear this today.
Okay. So each of those tires that were displayed in the video was created by a different member of the program. Each tire was representative of a different child, and the ideas of recycling trash to treasure. Each of the tires took about roughly around a week for each of the children to return to us. Because of the pandemic, it's made it a little challenging for our youth to go ahead and engage in public programming. However, that's prompted us to think outside of the box to go ahead and make sure we do contactless pickup, and if it's supplies, if it's materials, if we need to pick up the actual project from them through contactless, we're able to go ahead and work with all of our youth as best as possible. We are proud to say that we are currently displaying the Safety Soldier at Bulldog Championship Park. You can go ahead and drive by. It's already up and prompted, and we will also start sharing our safety messages starting next week. The program is also finishing a different project, which is our Mother's Day project. So if any of our constituents that are watching right now have more questions or concerns about how to enroll their child in the project, they can go ahead and call us at the center, area code 915-860-8615. And I'm happy to answer any of council's questions at this time.
Just real quick, if you guys can send us individually the video? Because we weren't able to hear it.
Yes, ma'am. We'll
Please.
also share that on social media as well.
Awesome, thank you.
That's what I was gonna ask, if it's like available on YouTube or somewhere that we can see it.
Yes, of course.
I just want to say to the participants and everybody that helped, just a big thank you. It looks amazing.
Thank you.
Totally agree.
Any questions, you guys? Okay, moving on to consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Pérez,
Aye.
and Iván Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Duran?
I'd like to make a motion to move up items number 26, 27, and 28.
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Pérez,
Aye.
and Iván Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 26, discussion and action on the removal of Guadalupe Misquez from the Planning and Zoning Commission, Place 1.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Pérez,
Aye.
and Iván Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 27, discussion and action to approve an appoint of Julie Dominguez to the Planning and Zoning Commission, Place 1.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mayor, we do have a speaker for this item. Miriam Cruz.
Hello?
Ms. Cruz?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So, first of all, you guys should know there's a huge delay between what I'm listening to on the phone and your YouTube video. Just FYI, it's like a big gap, so if someone doesn't answer, you should probably give them at least 10 seconds. The reason I wanted to talk on this item was because I just wanted to clarify on the backup. It seems like like Ms. Dominguez checked off that she is not on that she's not currently serving on the Border Commission, but on the written portion, she said that she is, and I was just hoping that that can be clarified. That's it. Thank you.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Pérez,
Aye.
and Iván Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 28, swearing in of newly appointed commissioner. Okay, would you repeat after me? I, Julie Dominguez,
I, Julie Dominguez,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of the Planning and Zoning Commission
of the Planning and Zoning Commission
of the City of Socorro, Texas,
of the City of Socorro, Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution
and laws of the United States and of
and the
this
laws
state.
of the United States. What was the last part?
I'm sorry. And laws of the United States and of this state.
Of the laws of the United States and this state.
Okay, would you repeat after me once again? I, Julie Dominguez,
I, Julie Dominguez,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I have not directly or indirectly paid
that I have not been directly or been paid, did you say?
that I have not directly that I have not directly
That I have not directly
or indirectly paid,
or indirectly paid,
offered, promised
offered or promised
to pay,
to pay,
contributed or promised to contribute
contributed or promised to contribute
any money or thing of value,
anything of value,
or promised any public or employment
or promised any employment or public
as reward to secure my appointment
as a word to secure my appointment
or confirmation thereof.
or confirmation thereof.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Ms. Dominguez.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you for serving. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Looking forward to working with everyone.
Good, thank you.
Okay, moving on to Grants Department, item number 16, discussion and action to adopt Resolution 641, authorizing the City of Socorro to submit a grant application to the Office of the Governor's Fiscal Year 20 Operation Stone Garden to fund overtime and equipment for personnel supporting the Border Initiative. There is no match requirement for this grant.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Alejandra Valadez, Grants Coordinator for the City of Socorro. We are requesting your approval for Resolution 641, authorizing us to continue our participation in Operation Stone Garden. We have participated in this grant program for many years now, since 2015, and this resolution is required as part of the application process. There is no match for this grant.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Perez,
Aye.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 17, update on resignation from CSCI Board of Directors of Ms. Patricia Lopez.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Again, Alejandra Valadez, Grants Coordinator. This is just an update to let you all know that we did receive a letter of resignation from Ms. Patricia Lopez, who was serving on the Board of Directors for the City of Socorro Community Initiative, which is our nonprofit organization. Ms. Lopez did have some time constraints, and she did submit her letter of resignation. Per our bylaws, we do need to appoint a new board member. The City Council is the entity that appoints that new director to the board. We are currently receiving nominations for a new director on our board. And if you know anyone, I can send you our online form where we collect information, and then we can bring some recommendations back to council.
Madam Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Mr. Perez?
Thank you. Alejandra, so then you do have a little bit of a pool going then of potential board members?
Yes, we do. We have received about 4 potential candidates, and we try to find somebody who has the experience that maybe we're missing on the board of directors to make a more diverse group of individuals.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Planning and Zoning Department, item number 18, discussion and action on the proposed conditional use permit for a mechanic shop in tracks 1A, 2B, and 1M, Lake Clark Survey 298, located at 10700 Robin Road.
Motion to approve for discussion.
Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. This is an application they're asking for a conditional use permit on a mechanic shop. There is a building in the corner of Robin and Reed Road. It's an existing building. They were caught doing mechanic work inside this building that you see on the screen. They don't have any plans to expand the business. They just want to continue using the existing building for the mechanic shop. I don't know if you have any questions about this one.
Mr. Reyes?
So they didn't have the permit?
That's correct. They didn't have a permit. They were working without a permit. And now they're trying to get the conditional use permit so they can register the business.
Is the business, Madam Mayor, if I may, I'm sorry. Is the building TECQ compliant?
Yes, sir.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Villalobos?
it is compliant because the picture shows that they don't have enough parking for 18-wheelers. As you can see, they're parked outside, close to the street on city right-of-way. Is that not an issue? Mr. Job?
Yes, that is correct. The activity will be limited to only the amount of parking space that they have. They're not allowed to do any mechanic work outside the building. According to the applicant, they're not going to have any activity outside of the building. This is going to be cleared.
Madam Mayor, one more question, please.
Mr. Perez?
Joe, so then, as far as this is concerned, and please, I just want, for my own clarification, this is still within the city limits? This is
Yes,
within
sir.
the city?
Yes.
Because then if that's the case, then, I think that, I'm not so sure that they will not continue with the type of work that they're doing already. I don't know, it's just, the only reason why we're doing this conditional use permit is because they were like, to your point, they were caught, and I'm thinking that, I don't feel secure that they will abide by that, but we got to give them the chance, I suppose.
We do have the applicant on the line, if you all have any questions for him.
Mayor, if I may,
Mr. Duran?
how long have they been in operation?
We're not sure. We don't know when they started doing business.
Okay, so in other words, we will be monitoring them to make sure that all business will be confined to the property that they have and indoors.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Because I know this building, I've been in it, and it is a very large building. And I think that I think if they can just move the vehicles inside when they work on them and just take them right back out, I don't think that would be a problem.
That's correct.
I think also where I see the issue is the trailers. I mean, I know if they're working on the semi-tractors, that's one thing, but you've got the trailers that are, taking up all that other space as well.
I think
Mayor.
they can park the trailers elsewhere, because I think this is just for repairing the tractors and not the trailers. There's plenty of parking. I see all kinds of parking around that have other tractor trailers around there. And there's some there on the right, there's some right in front, there's some on the other side of the street. I think that if we can get them to just do I think it's more of a thing of convenience to have the trailers there. I don't think that they're working on trailers. I think they're working on the tractors. And if they can just comply with keeping the trailers off the premises, or to have them not on the city right away while they're working on the tractors.
Mr. Nevares, did you have a question?
I do. So the owner's on the line, and maybe he could answer all of these questions we have.
Rudy Isker.
Yes, your honor, you guys, hello. That's exactly how we operate. We work just on the tractors inside the large building. We unhook the trailers and we park them in a parking space right here on Reed. At the curb, there's a big property there, but that's where we park the trailers. We do not repair the trailers here or near the outside of the street, and we do just work on the tractors, and they are completely inside where we can shut the door. They're not sticking out. They're nobody's way. Hello?
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Thank you.
we can hear you.
I think that's what we're all, our concern was, is the trailers. So if you can just make sure that the trailers are not on the city right away, and I don't see a problem with, continue with the business.
Appreciate it.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Ralph Duran.
Yes.
Victor Perez.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos. Ms. Villalobos is absent.
Item number 19, discussion and action on the preliminary plat approval for the Valle Nuevo Commercial Center, number 1, being a portion of tracks 10, 11, 12A, 13A2, 14, and 14A, Block 5, Socorro grant for a new commercial development.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. This is only a subdivision. They want to subdivide a portion of this tract of land. Property is located in the corner of North Loop and Nuevo Hueco Tanks Road. This is going to be the first phase of a much larger development. All the lots that you see on the screen, they're all going to be commercial, and they're going to create 18 lots. It's going to have 4 streets and 2 parking areas.
Mayor, we do have the owner and the engineers on the phone if you all have any questions.
And we also have a public member.
Is this the, Joe, is this the warehousing district, I guess, or warehousing area that we had talked, that would have been originally planned for this area?
Yes, sir, but this is going to be the commercial part.
Mr. Duran?
Joe, are they gonna have any street lights or cutouts where those streets come out?
Yes.
Okay, which one are they gonna be? Cutouts or streetlights, or are there gonna be any for, is there gonna be lights for each of the, or only the ones that cross Nuevo Hueco Tanks?
They're required to provide lighting on all the streets that they're going to be creating. As you can see, the streets are going to be running behind the commercial zones. So there's lighting that's going to be required on all these streets.
No, not street lighting.
You mean traffic lights?
Traffic lights, pardon me, yes.
Right now, at the moment, we don't know yet because they're still working on the TIA. So
Okay.
we don't know exactly where the, if it's going to be required to be controlled until we see the TIA.
Okay, and what about cutouts for the corner lots? Are they gonna, because if we have too many cutouts, that's gonna cause a problem with traffic. They're gonna, are they gonna be able to access those businesses from the behind, or is it all gonna be from the front?
According to the engineer, they're gonna have access for deliveries from behind. That's the purpose of having the roadway in the back. From here, this is for the delivery. And then there's gonna be access for the public on the other side.
And what's the width of the street behind? Is it for semi-traffic or just for, small?
It's 72 feet wide and it's designed to accommodate all kinds of traffic, including semi-trucks.
Okay.
Mayor, we do have two speakers for this item. Miriam Cruz.
Hi, good evening. I guess I just have a general question. I know that residential lots require park. And I guess I was just wondering what, if any, green spaces, meaning shrubs, trees, anything like that would be required in this area, just because it obviously makes it look nicer. People who work there can go sit outside a tree instead of, you know, having to be stuck inside all the time. What kind of quality are we trying to create for this area, if any? Thanks.
Our other speaker is Jesus Ortiz.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you all for having me today. My name is Jesus Ortiz. I'm a 25-year resident here in El Paso. Just calling because I have some concerns that this might not pass as it failed at the last zoning commission meeting. Just wanted to give a little bit of my take on it. Now, in reference to the Villanueva subdivision, not the commercial zone, the area was denied because it fell below the 6,000 square feet threshold that you need for the master plan. However, I think that the benefits outweigh that small deviation. At least 42% of the subdivision lots were in compliance, and the city of Socorro got 5 acres of land to do infrastructure development, and then there was 2 parks in the plan. Now, I think that this subdivision will also increase tax revenues and commercial income, which will result for further projects like the $700,000 plan that was instilled recently. But that's kind of my opinion on that. So I yield back my time. Thanks.
I don't think anybody heard.
Jim, I think he was talking about a different subdivision.
I was talking about the
very garbled, I couldn't tell.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, so I was specifically talking about the subdivision, not the commercial zone.
Okay, it's a different one.
We are on number 19, sir, the Valle Nuevo Commercial Center. Did you have anything to say about that?
Yes, sorry about that. So basically, to sum it up, I just wanted to give you guys my opinion on why I think it should be approved, because it failed the last zoning commission meeting. So basically, I just think that this should be approved because the benefits outweigh that it fell beneath the 6,000 square foot lot requirement for the master plan that Socorro has. I went ahead and sent an email on those benefits, but the increase in tax revenues, I think it's much needed for the city of Socorro to continue doing some of the improvements that it's been doing. And I think it presents a good opportunity for the future of Socorro so that we could position ourselves to take advantage of things in the pipeline, such as the Biden infrastructure plan and the reopening of the borders. That's basically it, if you guys got all that.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, may I amend my motion only to include approval, but to include the staff recommendations?
Do we have a second?
Me.
Second.
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Villalobos?
I'm sorry. I was not able to hear the gentleman quite correctly. Was there an issue with the size of the lots? Or are we still keeping them, Mr. Job, at 6,000 and above.
No, he's
No.
talking about a different subdivision. This is not the one he's referring to.
This
Okay,
is
so this-
talking about a commercial center, a new commercial development on Nuevo
And it's
West
not-
Cortex.
Okay, and it's not number 19.
No, this is number 19.
Okay,
Gentleman on the line was talking about the subdivision across the street from this one.
so it has nothing to do with this item right now.
Correct.
Just to clarify. Okay, and this subdivision still has 6,000 square feet lots or more?
This is not residential.
No, this is a commercial center that we're speaking about.
Okay. Gotcha, alrighty. Thank you.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Perez,
Aye.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 20, discussion and action on the preliminary plat approval for Socorro Logistics Center Number 1, being a portion of tracks 8, 9, 10, and 11, Block 5, Socorro Grant for a new industrial development.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is an application for a preliminary plat. This is where the actual warehouse is going to be, the one you were asking earlier. This is the first part of the industrial zone. They're going to be creating one lot, and the whole thing is most of it is going to be covered by one warehouse. With this plat, they're also going to be creating 2 streets and 1 public bonding area. With this preliminary plat, there's going to be a temporary roundabout at the end, or cul-de-sac at the end. Eventually, this road is going to connect to Inglewood. So the property that we're looking at right now is next to this one. It's right here. And the roadway is gonna start from Nuevo Hueco Tanks. It's gonna wrap around and eventually will lead all the way to Inglewood.
Mayor, we do have the owner and the engineer on the line in case anybody has any questions.
Any questions?
And we also have a speaker for this item, Miriam Cruz.
Thank you, Ms. Navarro. I had a question regarding ponding. It looked like they checked off park pond instead of ponding drainage on the application or on the, I guess it is the application for subdivision approval. I guess I just wanted to make sure, I believe that y'all had passed something that said that no more park ponds were allowed, so hopefully that's just a mistake. And then the other question that I had, and one of the reasons why I brought it up in the other one about green spaces or greenery, shrubbery, whatever you want to call it, something that makes that area look nice, is because I'm imagining the homes that are being built on that street, the fact that that's going to be really a major street for the city of Socorro. And I would think that we would want to make it as aesthetically pleasing as we could. And so I don't know what we're doing to incentivize these commercial builders to make it look, as dumb as that may sound, as pretty as it can. Because I'm imagining warehouses like the ones that are in Inglewood that don't look very nice. And so I'm just wondering, again, what if anything, are we asking, are we requesting? I'm pretty sure we're not requiring for anything like that that's going to make that area look nicer than just, random warehouses next to, subdivisions where there's going to be a park and whatnot. Thanks.
Mr. Duran, would you like to amend your motion to include the staff recommendations?
Yes, I'd like to, at this time, amend my motion to recommend the staff recommendations along with the approval.
Second.
Job, Ms. Mayor.
Ms. Villalobos?
Did they check off park ponding? Is that Is that true?
Yes, the reason for that is because both of them are in the same field. The reason for that is they're only gonna be dedicating one ponding area for public use. It's gonna have a second pond, but that one's gonna be privately maintained.
And so they have to include it as a park.
It's not gonna be a park, it's just the way our applications were written.
So to clarify, they're having 2 pond areas.
Two ponds, one of them will be public, one of them will be private.
Okay. Alrighty, I'm not sure, have we changed, do we need to change our applications?
Yes, ma'am, we still need to update our applications, they're outdated. I apologize.
How soon can that be done, or do we have to go through an ordinance?
No, we'll start working on it tomorrow.
Is that okay with council?
I agree, because if we've already stated that we are not allowing something and it still exists on our forms, then we're kind of going against our own requirements here.
Thank you.
Agree.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Perez,
Aye.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Moving on to city manager. Item number 21, discussion and action to ratify approval for Mayor Ivy Avalos, at-large Representative Ruben Reyes, City Manager Adriana Rodarte, and Public Information Officer Victor Reta to attend the TML Region 4 meeting in Andrews, Texas, Friday, April 30th, 2021.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We are asking to ratify approval for travel. We were invited to the Region 4 TML meeting, which took place last Friday. We drove and came back the same day. During our visit, we met with the city manager, assistant city manager, and economic development department to inquire on their health department, solid waste, and economic development incentives, as we are working towards those goals ourselves. It is always a pleasure to hear what other cities are doing and how we can implement some of their ideas into our own.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Perez,
Aye.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 22, discussion and action to approve Mayor Ivy Avalos, council members, and city manager to attend the following webinar, Municipal Fundamentals, on Friday, May 21st, 2021.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. There's a webinar coming up for the Municipal Fundamentals that is taking place on May 21st. The cost is $100 a person. Would like to know which council members are interested. I know Mayor at Large and District 1 have expressed interest.
Madam Mayor?
Mr. Perez, or Mr. Nevares was first, I believe?
Yes. Ms. Adriana, I'll be still here, so I won't be able to attend.
Okay.
Mr. Perez?
Sorry.
What is the hours of the hour for that webinar?
Let me get that for you. Do you want us to share it?
8 to
Yes, please.
4:30.
Could you repeat that, please?
8:30 to 4:30.
So it's from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and it's through a go-to platform.
And this is Mountain Standard Time, or, I'm sorry, I
Central.
can't,
Central,
Central Time?
correct.
I won't be able to. I would love to, but I won't be able to.
Mr. Duran?
Is this the one that I think I went to in Horizon City? I believe it's the same. I'm looking at some of the topics that they were covering, and I think it's the same one that I've already been to. 'Cause I saw them.
I think the last meeting we went to was more geared towards open records.
Okay.
However, this one does cover open records, but it covers other,
Okay. How
areas.
soon do you need to know? Because I need to check.
if, by next week.
Okay, I will let you know because I might be going out of town again.
Okay, perfect. I'll check up with you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Ms. Rodarte, go ahead and include me, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Perez,
Aye.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 23, discussion, update, and action on the Lower Valley Water District, Mauro Rosas install of a 10x10 lift station.
Motion to approve for discussion?
Second.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Bringing this item up because the district has advised us that this project is on hold for 30 days to allow time to explore a potential alternative site other than Mauro Rosas Park for their lift station structure. The reason I'm bringing this item up is just, I've been here for 7 years, and I think that Rosa Azul's project has been in the works since then. Unfortunately, every time that our constituents call the Lower Valley Water, it seems like it's always on the city of Socorro. So I want to make sure that our council is aware that it's not us holding the project. It's just our constituents are frustrated. There's septic tanks are failing. And I know that the district has received funding from the government. And I just want to see if there's a way that we can send them a letter. And, we need answers and we need them fast. These people are really suffering from not having these services in the area.
Agree.
And this is, we're talking about the constituents in District 4, correct?
That is
And we're
correct,
talking
ma'am.
about the Lower Valley Water District as well?
Correct. It's the Rosa Azul project. They were pending an agreement for the lift station at Mauro Rosas Park. Because it involves a park, there is a lot of legality that has to happen, public hearings. They wanted us to come into an agreement for a 20-year lease. However, the city did not feel comfortable do a 20-year. We asked for a 10-year, and that's pretty much when they placed the project on hold. And the only reason that we didn't want to go for the 20 years is just, unfortunately, right now, with paving cuts and other things that we have working concurrently with the Lower Valley Water District, they're not very receptive. So it just didn't feel I didn't feel comfortable enough to set the city for a 20-year lease if we just don't know, the maintenance and that's the reason they placed us on hold.
Mr. Perez?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So if I understood you correctly, this is a project that's 7 years in the making so far, right? And I, with all due respect, and I apologize for sounding so negative, but in that time, they've decided that they want to look for an alternative site, and they haven't been able to identify one. I think that they're doing a disservice to their constituency as well, because they pay taxes and they elect their board of managers. So I'm sorry that's I don't know.
Correct.
I have an opinion
From
about
what I
that.
do know is that they're working with the Water Irrigation District. Mr. Grijalva did reach out to me yesterday since they saw the item on the agenda. They wanted to know what this was about, and pretty much the conversation is just giving council an update. Because I do know that council calls me with, they have constituents calling them that are extremely frustrated. And every time it's a different update, we go back and forth, I just feel that we need answers other than, we're working on something.
Madam Mayor,
Ms. Villalobos?
she is completely right. We get the short end of the stick, Socorro, for everything that the Lower Valley does not do. We get every constituent calling saying we're not doing this or we're not doing that when it's the Lower Valley that is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I really do think that we need to send a strong message as a council to the Lower Valley Water District to let them know that we're dissatisfied with the work that they have done, and that we are constantly being accused of as council and as a city of not doing things rapidly when it's their when the ball is in their court. And I really do think we should put a letter together that is strong and signed by every one of us. Thank you.
Mr. Duran?
Like you say, this has been going on for a long time. The pump stations, they smell. They smell really bad. Especially, I know the one on Passmore. I'm driving by there sometimes, and it's enough to gag a maggot. And we want to put that next to a park where our children are going to be playing. I think they need to find a place out in the middle of nowhere for that pump station nearby to service those our constituents in that area, so that we can all have drainage. They've done it over there in another area, put in drainage and water for everybody. They need to do the same for this area here and not put it on city property that they don't want to commit to. And like you said, it's been going on too long. I agree with Ms. Villalobos that we need to draft a letter stating, get this done. You charge water, you charge us every month, and nothing is being done for 7 years. This has gone on too long.
Mr. Reyes?
Can we add to the letter to make them go and do the proper maintenance to the lift stations? To what we talked at Andrews, is they said that most of the time that smell is because they're not doing the proper maintenance on them.
Yes, we can definitely add that to our letter.
I agree with Mr. Reyes. They also mentioned when we went to Andrews, Texas, if we had some sort of exhaust that was higher, it's just a pipe that's higher than what we already have, the smell kind of wafts, it just goes into the air. That was their solution. That's what they do. And then, like Mr. Reyes said, they actually do the maintenance. They clean out what's there with water so it doesn't smell. But I definitely agree with sending out a letter and having it be signed by all of us.
I concur.
Mayor, we have a speaker for this item, Miriam Cruz.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to thank Ms. Rolarte for bringing this item to the attention. I do remember seeing this in the Planning and Zoning and City Council last year, and then it does seem like it stopped. And so, obviously, anything that we can do for everyone in the city that can be helpful, I think, is the best way. And related to that note, I guess I just want to suggest also looking into the one that's on the Rio Vista that leads up to City Council and the Historical Commission, and that's maybe another one, or the next one you might want to look into, because there's also smell to the one that's right across that school from H.D. Hilly. Thank you.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Perez,
Aye.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 24, discussion and action to direct staff on how to proceed with the boards and commission vacancies.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have several boards and commissions that need appointments in order to meet quorum. We have not been able to have a quorum for BOA due to absences. There are 2 vacancies in that board. We also have the Building and Standards Commission that was separated from the Planning and Zoning Commission in 2018. We have had no appointments since then. There are properties that are dilapidated in violation of city ordinance, and we need a Building and Standards Commission to address these violations. The Texas Local Government Code says that the city may appoint a Building and Standards Commission. The city charter doesn't seem to prohibit Socorro from abolishing the commission. The city and the city council does have power under Local Government Code Chapter 54 to enforce its ordinances and statutes and under the city charter. But because we have those Building and Standard Commission processes in the municipal code, and they still exist, you cannot technically bypass the building and standards and go straight to city council. Because there are notice requirements on setting up any of those types of hearings, who sends notices to owners, and all of that information that is needed. So we have a couple of options, is amending our ordinance, get members seated to the Building and Standards Commission, or perhaps create an ordinance to bypass the Building and Standards Commission and go straight to City Council to be able to abate these properties.
Mr. Duran?
I think me and Mr. Nevares, by working together, we filled a spot on the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I think that a lot of us know somebody, but we've already filled our spot. And I think if we can just coordinate with each other and find out who has an opening, we all have an opening on the building standards, but as far as the other commissions, we can work together as a team and get these positions filled. Because I mean, my Ms. Dominguez, she came to me and she has the experience for planning and zoning. I explained it to Mr. Nevares and he was more than happy to put her on. And I think we can do the same with each other. If I have a position that is open and some of you have somebody who is qualified, please come to me and we'll fill that position. And I think that we can do that with each other.
Mr. Perez?
I agree. I mean, we've done that in the past. I mean, we already set precedent for that. And so, and so that's one thing that I know that I've had a hard time trying to fill some of my the positions. So I would gladly, if you know someone, consider them to be on any of the vacancies for my district or for my area. Now, Madam Mayor, if I may have a follow-up question.
Yes, sir.
Is it, and please forgive my ignorance, but is it totally necessary to have the individual districts, recommend somebody, or can we have an ongoing pool? Again, I'm trying to see, I can't remember how the city of El Paso does it. If the individual city council members do the appointments, or is there a separate process for that, for commissioners and wanting to serve, or potential commissioners wanting to serve?
So the way our ordinance is written is that the council members appoint. They have several appointments depending on the commission or the board. We can definitely look at amending that. But in the past, if Mr. Duran doesn't have a vacancy, but he has someone, he'll reach out to the person that has the vacancy and see if they want to appoint. I know that if we receive applications with the city clerk will email it to everyone and see if they want to appoint that person.
Mr. Duran?
Yeah, I think, Victor, I think that was meant, because you and I both know that we've done that in the past, but I think that was mainly meant for our newest members of council, okay, that they can reach out to us, and if we reach to them, if they have an opening and I have somebody who can fill it, we can reach out to them and let them know there's nothing wrong with it. They can vet them. Like I said, I explained the qualifications to Mr. Nevares, and he was fine with it, and that's why we have our new commissioner tonight, and hopefully at Planning and Zoning, we won't have any more non-meetings due to lack of quorum.
Absolutely, I agree. No, and then that is a good point. Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Ms. Villalobos?
And I think we should incorporate both gentlemen and council and Mr. Duarte. I think we should also consider giving some of that stuff back to council because we don't have enough members. We're not gonna have enough members. I've tried diligently to try to get I talk to every time you live in Socorro, you wanna join, or, you know, and it doesn't work that way because I don't know a lot of people here in Socorro. But I think, Ms. Rodarte, we have some committees that are suffering more than the planning and zoning, and maybe we should consider doing an ordinance to give council back the power to get these items voted on.
Mr.
So
Duran?
what is your thoughts, Ms. Rodarte, and council?
Go ahead, Mr. Duran.
I think that this one committee needs to be by the residents because it is affecting the residents. I don't think that we need to be exerting our will on people because it should be by the people. The Building and Standards Commission has to be. I don't think council should be doing that. And I've talked to other people and they say, no, stay out of that. Have an independent group of people go out and look at everything and they make the decision, not council. We need to stay out of that. We need to let, this was made for a reason. It was not made to just get rid of it and hand it over to council. This is something we have, our position, our job is to make policy, not to administer it. And by doing this, by bringing it back to council, we will be administering the same policies we make, which I don't think is right. I think we just need to look a little bit harder. I mean, I can find people. I know a lot of people. And I think I can find independently minded people who are going to be fair. And I think we can get this commission filled if we just work a little bit on it. Like I said, Ms. Villalobos says she doesn't know any people in Socorro. I do. Mr. Nevares, you're from here. You know people. Victor, you're from here. You know people. We all know people. And
yeah, but I'm related to a lot of them. That's my problem.
Well, then you give them to me and I'll put them on.
No, but the thing is that we can't. See that?
No, I know if they're, but close
No,
relations.
and I'm joking. And I get you that if we look hard enough, we'll be able to find them.
I think we just need to put a concerted effort, which I don't think. Well, I mean, with planning and zoning, I heard from people that are on there. They said, "No, we didn't have quorum again." I said, "Well, okay. Who has a position open?" And then I remember we appointed somebody, but she never showed up. So I called Mr. Nevares. We had a brief discussion, and he's like, "Sure, no problem." And now we have another member for planning and zoning. And I think we can do the same thing for building and standards. I don't think our council should be making the policy and administering the same policies. I think that's our job. And this came from the city manager when we went to Ms. Villalobos. What was his name? Oh.
From Terrell, Texas?
Yes. What was the city manager's name?
Oh, the city manager, I don't know.
Well, anyway, he was shocked when he saw us making the decisions on where to put in streetlights. He's like, that is not the position. That is not the job of city council. The job of city council is to make policy. That is our job, not to administer it. That's why we would have these boards and commissions to administer the policy that we come up with. So I think let's give it some time. Let's all of us make a reconcerted effort to get these boards and commissions filled. And I think if we just put a little bit of time into it, I think we can do it.
Mayor.
Mr. Reyes?
I was gonna say that if we could set up a time frame. I mean, because they've been open for how long?
2018.
Yeah, so I think we set up, I don't know, 30 days, 20 days.
I would say let's set up 3 months, 90 days. And we can get it, I mean, we waited this long. Let's give it another 3 months so we can get some, I mean, if we do it 30 days, we're gonna just put somebody on there just for the sake of doing it. And that's not right either. They need to be qualified, they need to be able to commit to doing it. And this way, 90 days will give us plenty of time.
Do we have a motion?
I believe we have some more questions. Ms. Rodarte?
Yes, I just wanted to clarify that in 2018, also council made a motion to not make them the last word. So the Building and Standard Commission became an advisory board to the council. And that was back in 2018. That's all I wanted to add.
Mayor.
Ms. Villalobos?
So I also wanted to, I was gonna suggest the 90-day, 3-month, because I've done a lot of effort, and we've posted it on social media. We had some billboards out there at one point. And so one of the suggestions I said was, why don't we start paying them, and then they'll start coming. And we spent a lot less money doing that, but it was voted on. It's a public servant, but it's a service. It's a public service. Everybody should get involved, but we live in different times now. And yes, it's a public service, but if you were to add a monetary behind it, they would show up. I know they would show up, and not too big. They would show up, and we wouldn't have to constantly be canceling. And I think we pay more to put it in the newspaper than if we were to pay them out, flat out. That would be my suggestion. If we can't get these 90 months, in these 90 days, the positions filled. We have to do something about it. We can't just be sitting ducks. We've tried this before. We've talked about this before. I've brought it up several times. But let's give it another 90 days, see what happens. But after that, we have to be more aggressive, and we're gonna have to think outside the box.
Can we all commit to 90 days? Maybe bring a couple, 2 commissioners in per person, something like that?
Who made the motion?
We don't have a motion, Mr. Duran.
I'd like to make a motion with regards to boards and commissions, that we hold on or give it 90 days to try and fill all boards and commissions. And I need staff to send each council member a list of what they have available and what is available. That way, in case that, say, Mr. Perez has an opening in Board of Adjustments, and he has nobody. And this is gonna take talking to each other, and finding out, do you have somebody? Well, no, I have this person here. Would you mind, putting them on? And that's how we're gonna get it done, by working together, not by everybody, oh, well, I don't know anybody. Well, I do know some people that wanna serve, but I don't have I think I've got all my positions filled. And, there's a lot of people that do wanna help out. But now, I talked to Mr. Nevares, so this one came up, and it worked out perfect. And I think it can work out for all of us if we just put a little bit of effort to it.
Madam Mayor?
Ms. Villalobos?
So again, I will let you know again. No, I don't know a lot of people in Socorro, but I have talked to a lot of people in Socorro to try to get them in this position, a lot more than I think any of you here. I'm constantly talking about it. And that said, I remember last year, Mr. Duran, you said very clearly that you needed capable people. You weren't just gonna add anybody on the commissions, because you needed to know them, number one, and number two, they needed to be smart enough. So I'm glad that you're open now to bringing in people and allowing us to do it, the same way, or agreeing to do it the same way that we wanted to do it last year, which is anybody that signs up. I have asked Ms. Olivia several times, is there anybody signed up? I don't mind appointing anybody, that wants to serve. If they have the willingness to serve, they'll catch on. They'll catch up, and I'm sure that they'll do the best that they can to vote on the items that are presented to them.
Mr. Nevares?
I think we've already agreed on what we're gonna do. Let's move forward, please.
Do we have a
Second.
second?
Second.
Second.
We do have a speaker.
Miriam Cruz?
Thank you. I'll be quick because I think Mr. Nevares is in a hurry. Ms. Rodarte, I wanted to thank you for bringing this item. Obviously, I've spoken about the Ethics Commission, which is the one that I'm on, a few times because that one hasn't even started because one person is missing. And I know I've pestered Mr. Perez about it, especially when we were having in-person meetings. But I just really think that that's a very, very important commission to have going in the city, especially with, you know, all of the things that have happened in the past, time saving, money saving, moving forward. And so I'm really hoping that that one can also be a priority. I can understand why the board, the one that's mentioned in the backup, the building and standards, why that one's obviously very, very important as well. But I also believe that the Ethics Commission is very important to get started. And unfortunately, it looks like all of us that were appointed previously to it are pretty much, some of them actually timed out. Or all of us are going to time out at the end of this year, December 2021. And so the fact that it hasn't started, I'm not even really sure what's going to happen with that. Have our 4 years actually started? Have they
Ms.
not?
Cruz, your time
I
is up.
actually would like to get some guidance on that. Thank you.
Mayor?
Mr. Duran?
Ms. Rosarte, how many members have been appointed to the Ethics Commission?
We have 6.
How many have been appointed?
6?
6? Okay, according to,
I
and
think we have one
stop me if
vacancy.
I'm wrong,
Yeah, we have one.
only 2 members can petition the city manager, I believe, to convene the first meeting. You don't need to have all 7. Because I know we did that with civil service back in the day when we were trying to get it started. And I contacted another member. We contacted Mr. Norfleet, and we got it going. We don't need to have all 7 seated. Is that correct?
Yes, so we don't have any bylaws. I know that last year we tried to contact, but there are some people that just didn't answer anymore. So we would have to go back and see if they're still interested or if they have become vacancies, sir.
So all we need is 2 members to convene the meeting, correct?
And any others that have fallen,
Well,
since we haven't had a
yeah.
meeting. Mhm.
I mean, but 2 members can start it, and then we get everybody, and then find out who shows up and who doesn't, rather than just wait for it to be completely seated. Because I think that's what our problem is. We waited too long, and people got, you know, they just didn't want to serve anymore, because nothing happened. So, Ms. Cruz, just get with another member that you know on there, petition the city manager to set up a meeting, and let's get it going.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Ralph Duran?
Yes.
Victor Perez?
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos?
Yes.
Item number 25, discussion and action on the City of Socorro CARES Act funding portion received by El Paso County.
Motion to approve for discussion?
Second.
Mayor and Council, the reason that this item is being brought up, we were approached by the county asking if we're going to use our CARES Act funding now that we're getting rescue funds. Their records show that we've only spent $300,000, which is incorrect. I think right now our biggest issue or hurdle is all of the paperwork that they're requesting in order for us to be reimbursed out of those $1.8 million. We do have, so there was a total allocation of 1.8 million. We have expended up to date 1.1 million, so leaving us a balance of $787,000. And we do plan to spend $724,000 off of that CARES Act funding. We do have till December 30th, 2021. We do know that the rescue funds will be available till 2024. I just do feel we should just go back to the county and state that we do plan on spending our funds in our community. I do know that they're stating that they want us to keep our funds and make sure that we meet our goal, and that they would provide programs to our city. However, they're not being very specific of what type of programs they would be offering to the city. But we do have staff that's very aggressive, that we're able to spend those funds on the city's interest.
Mr. Perez?
So if I may, Madam Mayor, no, I'm sorry. Was it Mr. Reyes that made the motion? I apologize.
Yes.
I'm not sure, because then that way we could, if it is Mr. Reyes that made the motion, if he would care to amend it to inform, to have staff inform the county of our intent to continue seeking those funds. Again, I apologize. However you want to word it, Mr. Reyes, I wasn't sure. I do remember if you were the one that had made the motion.
I also wanted to see if we could add in that letter, if we can expedite the reimbursement, as our general fund does take a hit because we do pay out and then we wait for reimbursement, and the documentation that's being asked of us is pretty lengthy. And I know it takes us time, but then it takes them time to review. But if there's any way that they can expedite that process, that would really assist us, and it wouldn't make Mr. Charlie so nervous.
Second.
Mr. Reyes, would you amend your motion?
Yes, so it will be motion to instruct staff to inform El Paso County about, what is it? To inform El Paso County of what we're using that money for,
Or expenditure.
And expedite the process.
and to expedite the process
Of reimbursement.
of reimbursement.
Second.
Alejandra, do you want to add anything? I know she's the one that works really hard in getting these, the documentation in.
No, just that is our biggest hurdle, getting all of the paperwork that they need, which is understandable, but we want to make Mr. Casiano happy.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Perez,
Aye.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to move into executive?
Motion made.
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Perez,
Aye.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
And it is 8 p.m.
This meeting is called to order. We are now in regular session. It is 8:09 p.m.
It's 10 here.
We'll get you your little tetera and you can go to sleep right now, okay?
Through 31.
Do we have a motion?
For item, could you repeat the item, ma'am, please?
Do we have a motion for item number 32? Or
I think
actually, I'm
we
sorry.
do 29, 30, and 31,
29,
don't we?
30, and 31.
Make a motion to delete items number 29, 30, and 31.
Second.
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Aye.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Perez,
Aye.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Do we have a motion for item number 32?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to give or to allow Mr. Martinez the settlement authority as described in
Executive session.
executive session. Thank you. Senior moment there.
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Perez,
Aye.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
And do we have a motion for item number 33?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to go ahead and make the motion to dismiss item number 33.
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Mayor, may I?
Yes, sir, Mr. Martinez.
I didn't mean to interrupt. My suggestion would be that the correct motion would be to approve the settlement agreement that I described for council in executive session and to authorize the city manager to execute.
Or mayor.
As for number 32, item number 32.
33.
33.
So I'll go ahead and add Mr. Martinez's recommended verbiage.
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Same.
Victor Perez,
Aye.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yes.
Yes, Mr.
Ruben
Nevares.
Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Ralph Duran,
Yes.
Victor Perez,
Aye.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Meeting adjourns at 8:13 p.m.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Good
Be safe.
night.